Hey folks, my name is Tracy with Scrappy's Rustics. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 easy ways to stencil. Please hit the like button and smash the subscribe button so you can see more. In this very first part, we're using a stencil from Funky Junky. It is called the Palette. I love this because it has a nice variety of different numbers, emblems, UPC codes, stamps of old vintage style palettes. We have a crate one too, so you can mix and match them. This quality of this stencil is outstanding. I've used quite a few stencils in my time, not to age myself, but this one is really great. It's the perfect, I think it's 10 millimeters, which is perfect. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, but the cleanup on this thing is amazing. I always take good care of my stencils, and I left a couple of them overnight and it dried, and I was really shocked how easily they came off, and it was very sturdy. So we're using a stencil brush, not the smallest but the next size up, and I'm using black acrylic paint. If you noticed, I have not reloaded till right there. My stencil brush, the key to stenciling, if you do not want any bleeding, is less paint. You're better off going over it 3, 4, 5 times if you need to, just to get the color that you desire, opposed to trying to blob a bunch of paint on there at one time, because if you do that, it will bleed through. I did put painter's tape down on each side just to hold my stencil in place while I was stenciling it. So we're going to use some jute, and I have a old, it's pretty rusty washer. We have a bin of just random stuff, so I found that, and it fits pretty perfectly. I'm using the Pentart Heavy Gel. Y'all, you know what it's like to try to get metal to glue to anything, and that Pentart Heavy Body Gel works amazing. So I let that sit on there so it takes a little time to set up. But now I'm just sealing the painted stencil part with Pentart Ultra Matte. Y'all, have you noticed I only sealed the paint part, but look how matte this is. I mean, I am that confident with this product that you don't have to do your whole piece because it dries so matte you can't even see. It's a great product. If you're a matte lover, I'm telling you, this is the product for you. I've sampled several matte products probably over the last year, and by far this one is the best, hands down. It's a glue, it's a decoupage glue, and it's also a sealer. They say it's waterproof. I have not tested it outside yet, but yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know how that is, but they do say it's waterproof. So I'm just using some colored jute there, just to, I don't know, give it a little more interest around the top. This is a cedar plank. I held it up in the beginning real close because I was hoping you could smell it, because it smells amazing. We need smell-o-vision, y'all. We need smell-o-vision, because the smell of this cedar is just amazing. So this is just really a simple piece, but I love stuff like this. I would totally put this in my decor. I just have a real thick piece of ratty jute there that I'm putting for the hanger, and that's how you'll hang it. And it's just a really simple, yet we vintaged it right up. But we're not done yet because I don't think it's warm enough. Well, I actually didn't show you that part. Dang, I went around the outside with paint just to warm it up. I like to do that. I just feel like it makes it look softer. So here's number 2. I didn't demonstrate this, but I want to show you that you can take a stencil and you can put it over decoupage paper. So these 2 papers that I'm showing you are Roycycled 20 by 30 decoupage papers, and these are 2 Roycycled stencils. This is the bushel basket, and the other one is the urn. So if you just simply take a stencil of your choice and stencil over paper, you can give yourself an entirely different look, unique look. And I don't think anybody ever thinks about stenciling on paper and then taking that paper and, putting on your surface and then add to it from there. So in this one, I used rose gold because I wanted it to look patina, because the paper itself had a turquoise look to it. And I can't remember the name of these 2 papers, but if you are interested, just put in the comments and I will link you back what they are. All the products you are seeing today can be found on our website at scrappysrustics.com. So look how cool that looks. It's just a unique look. Stencil number 3, this is a JRV. These are vintage jar labels. These are 15 milliliter. They're millimeter. Sorry. Thickness. I'm trying to see if you can see them there, which you can't. It's hard to see a clear stencil. So here we go. Finally, now if the light hits it right, you can see it. So these are all jars, like toothpaste, cold cream. I think there's 2 toothpastes, some bitters, just old vintage replica stencils of vintage items. They're really great. They're extremely durable. They are a little on the thicker side. So therefore, a pouncer probably wouldn't work too well for you because you need something to get down in there in between the stencil itself. But if you pounced hard enough, it'd be fine. Probably be fine. So this one comes with, I believe, 6, and the picture's not too great, but if you can see there, they are the vintage jar labels JRV. I had this back in the day. Behind me when I went live, I had share, and each letter was different, and I haven't had that up in a while, so I saved the tag. The A came off, it was just tacked on. So I decided to use it. So I'm going to use one of the toothbrush stencils. We're going to tape it down with painter's tape just to hold it in place. Again, we're going to use black acrylic. And this is just a super simple project. Again, it comes out just rustic-like. If you don't like rustic, then you're probably not going to care for this. But remember, a technique is a technique. You can learn from someone who uses, if you don't like glitter like myself, and they use all these sparkly stuff and whatnot, at the end of the day, a technique is still a technique. You just use the materials and the colors that you like. So remember too, as you're stenciling, you're getting the paint down in the stencil cuts. But as you stencil, you're also picking up the paint that's laying on top of your stencil. So don't be afraid to kind of grab that paint that's floating around on top of your stencil and move it around. It will help you keep your stencil brush drier, so you're not, using a ton of paint and end up with bleeding. So this one we end up, look at that, so cool. I love it. Go all the way around the edges. I feel like going around the edges just warms it up a bit, gives it a little bit more interest and a little more texture, makes it appear a little bit older. But this is a real easy one. This would make a great gift. However, I'm going to hang this in my house. I love it. I just love the simplicity of it. To me, it looks old, and I just like that. So I'm going around their faux washer there. I think it's a little made out of wood. So I'm just going around with the black paint around the washer. Of course, you don't have to do that, but it's just a good way to reuse things. I'm the type of person who buys something because I like it, but I have no clue what the heck I'm going to do with it. And, then one day you figure it out. So I'm just dry brushing very, very, very tiny bit across the top just to make it appear like it's a little older. And I go around the sides as well because we want the sides to match. Excuse me. So, yeah, just a simple way. But the key to stenciling is most definitely less paint. Go over 3, 4, 5 times if you have to, and you should get no bleeding whatsoever. And lastly, my favorite, y'all, this is A Maker Studio Mesh Stencil. It's like a silk screen, and this one's called Lace. I do have an affiliation link. All of the affiliation links can be found on my website and up in the area in the menu. And this one's A Maker Studio, and that is called Lace. So this is a rusty scalloped pocket. We do have this on the website as well. And I am covering it with the Pentart Ultra Matte because the rust is kind of coming off on it. And I don't want that to get on your hands if you touch it. And it'll give me a nice base to start my mesh transfer. So I just do the whole thing. I didn't do the inside, but look how matte that is. You cannot even tell I did anything, but yet the rust is not coming off. And I wanted this to wrap around the sides to begin with, but it just wouldn't adhere right. So I just went where I just let it go where it actually stuck. I really wanted to wrap, but it just wouldn't. If you don't have a tight adherent, if it doesn't adhere tightly, then it's going to bleed, especially this one because there's so much detail in that lace. There's a lot of open area. So any of the open area, that's where you're going to push your product through. Now, I couldn't figure out what color to use. We have Antique Sage, the Boar Navy Blue. I was like, no navy blue. And then the Desert Rose. I really think the Desert Rose would look fantastic. If you've never used these chalk paste before, they're from Redesigned by Prima. My goodness, they smell like you could eat them. They are so good. They're so creamy. I love them. We have those available as well. So I ended up going with the Antique Sage. And I have a little squeegee that I've been using. I use for all my silk screen. If you don't have one, you could use a credit card. So I just made like a line. That's kind of where it stopped to the left, it stopped adhering. So I just went with, you know, where it adhered good. And I didn't know how this was going to come out, but oh, it ended up being my favorite piece. And this rusty pocket, I mean, it's adorable by itself. You could just put some floral in there and hang it up. It's decent size. So when you are using chalk paste, you want to get your product in those silkscreen areas. You're pushing the product in there, and then you're scraping off the excess on the top. And you can put it back in your container. And here's the magic. Look how beautiful that came out. I love this. I love it. I think the colors look great. And I do think the desert rose would look amazing as well. And we're going to leave the back as is. So I went and sealed it with the Pentart Ultra Matte. You do want to seal your chalk paste because if it does get wet, it will come off. So this way, you know, it's ready to go to be wiped down if you need to clean it. So then we're using 2 of Tim Holtz Oxide inks. I need to get the name of it. I think one of them's walnut and the other one's vintage something. We have some sari silk and some muslin, some dried flowers, a little, mesh kind of bow I made. And I buy the beads from Joann's, and I like to use them, like to cut them up or use the whole beaded thing as a hanger. That is a little grungy. We're grunging up the tag a little more, and I wrote peace on it. I didn't know what to write, so I wrote peace on it. And we are gonna, I wasn't sure should I use all these elements? Is it gonna look right together? Should I just use a couple? So that's what I'm trying to figure out here. How to layer them or not to layer them, or what the heck to do. Ironically, the turquoise, I guess by the sage being on the rust, it kind of gave it more of a turquoise color. Whenever I throw my hands up like that, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't make a decision. So the turquoise beads ended up matching perfectly. So again, we're trying to adhere something to metal. We all know that's always a challenge, but the heavy body gel does take a minute to set up, but it works every time. It really works great. So I'm also adhering my bow with a heavy body gel, and I end up putting a clip on it so I can continue to build my bow. But as I said, it takes a minute for the heavy body gel to set up. And but once it does, it's amazing. It has a lot of uses. I talk about this heavy body gel a lot just because it's a great product that has like 4 or 5 uses, if not more. So it's great, but it's made to hold heavy objects, and it's made to adhere to metal. So ultimately, I end up deciding to use all of them. The dried flowers. I don't know what you call that mesh type little bow stencil ribbon stuff. I'm not a big bow person, but I love the style of bow that I made here. I don't even know if it is as a style, but I like the looks of it. And this ended up being my favorite piece. I hope you guys are inspired by this. I hope if you had questions about stenciling or silk screening or mesh stencils, that maybe something that happened here in this video will help you the next time you try to go and do it, or inspires you to give it a try. Just that bow alone actually would have looked cute. So we have coffee dyed sari silk and a piece of muslin, just tied in just a regular shoelace bow, and just sticking it in the middle of there. And it's smaller so you can see the layers behind it. And yeah, if you ever get those, I know every craft store has the beads, but if they're on sale, you should grab them because you can use them whole. This one only had 3, and then it had little beads in the end, but you can use the beads just as a hanger itself. You don't even have to cut them, or you can use the beads as individuals. And in this case, I just cut them all up because I just wanted the one in the middle. And it was a pretty big, it had like it was like concaved, so I had to I used a heavy body gel, and I put a generous amount because I wanted to make sure it would stick. And again, it's metal to fabric, and I clamped it, and it dried like a beauty. And there it is. I am so proud of this piece. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share if you think it's worthy, and I hope to see you all again. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And there's all 3 of them. Woohoo! Thanks for watching.